So, yung topic natin, 55 views. Okay, good shit. So we're gonna talk about how to understand your audience better. In short, market research. There are a bunch of ways on how to research regarding your ideal target market. And, these days, may AI na. So, it might be easier to research everything these days, but the thing is, hindi naman lahat ng inaano ng AI reliable. So may inconsistencies pa rin. So if you guys are still interested in doing market research the old school way, or the copyright or the marketer's way, this is how they do it, and this is how I'm doing it until now, until my present client SparkPoint. So, first off, welcome guys, everyone. Yung mga nasa Discord, si Master Ken, salamat sa suporta as always. And yeah, nice meeting nice meeting you people, Banana, Cultist. Ayun, so me, for those that know who am I, then good sa tayo dyan. But for those that don't know me yet, at kung anong ginagawa ko or anong ino-offer ko, whatever, I founded these brands or projects, whatever you call it. So yung the Antiguru, I found it. I made it last 2019. Ano siya? Yung the Antiguru is a coaching brand that I used to use whenever I launch some info products or coaching programs or conversion-focused webinars, ganon. So, it's in the coaching niche. I initially founded it in 2019 as a satire brand. Kasi I want to be able to stand up to those gurus and coaches na puro boka lang, puro overpromising shit, like Dan Lok, if you guys know Dan Lok, mga ganon. Sino pa ba? Basta marami nung time na yun, ha, both foreign and local, maraming mga overpromising coaches. But one good example is Dan Lok that I'm against. So yun, kaya ginawa ko yung Antiguru. So what I did at first is I just write satirical content. Yung creative ko, memes, and then I just create I created content to mock those coaches, those people, like Danlock, ganon. And not until first quarter ng 2020, that's where I knew that this is going something. Kasi I'm gaining traction, kahit hindi naman libo, no? I think that was around just 200 or 300 pa lang yung members ng group ko, yung funnel copywriting fundamentals. Ganun pa lang, konti pa lang yung mga tao doon. But pansin ko, there are people messaging me, like they want to know, hey, gusto kong matuto mag-copywriting. And then, until one time, my first ever student, Jeb, I think he's here? I don't think so. Wala pala. Until Jeb sent me a message na, oy, gusto ko magpa-mentor, ganun. And then the rest is history. That's how I took the Antiguru as a satirical coaching brand into a serious coaching business. Then sa Pattern Interrupt Media naman, it's like more of like my digital marketing brand, client-facing B2B brand siya. So dito yung mga successes ko or mga successful case studies ko from Web3 niches and from iba pang niches. Good. So I've been in the marketing and advertising industry for 8 years now, and I was able to launch my own coaching program with a student success rate of 84%. So nag-launch ako ng coaching program March 2020. Nag-end ako ng coaching program. Nag-end ako sa coaching sa pagturo nung last year lang. And I was able to launch a product as well that made $90,000 without spending on paid ads. So $90,000 in total revenue yun, ha, ng pag-launch ng isang product. So I think it's, ano ba ngayon, USD? I think 5 million pesos plus yung revenue na na-generate niya without spending on paid ads. And I write a lot of sales pages, but for clients. But this particular sales page na nasulat ko sa NFT game client ko rin in 2022 made 10,000 US dollars or around 4 or 500,000 pesos in revenue every day nung nilaunch namin yung campaign. Ito yung kasagsagan ng NFT games, play to earn games and shit. So good times. And then using that yung sa same client na yon, using the launch strategies that I know, I helped them made 880k in revenue. 45 million pesos using my launch strategy. So this is just a quick recap of who I am. Nothing fancy, whatever, sa mga hindi pa nakakilala. But if I was to summarize who am I, I'm just a guy who knows marketing for like 8 years, Let's proceed with the topic. So we're gonna talk about understanding your audience through segmentation tonight. And before we proceed, teka, maandar ba yung headset ko? Hindi. Ayun, maandar. Before we proceed, who among you here, guys, are having a hard time researching about who your ideal audience is, or yung kung may mga clients kayong hindi alam yung ideal customer profile or ICPs nila, hindi nyo rin alam paano or saan kumuha or saan huhugot ng something or saan kayo huhugot para may pang research kayo. So I just wanna know who among here are having that type of issue or concern or problem, both in your personal businesses or clients. Haven't heard Danlock in a long time. Yeah, kasi last time I heard about Danlock, parang nagkaroon siya ng issue sa US and Canada for compliance issues. And then lumipat siya ng Hong Kong. And that's the last time I've heard of it. I think 3 or 4 years ago. Ganun. Ang dami niyang ang dami niyang nagoyo eh. You can watch more updates sa ganyan kay Coffeezilla sa YouTube. Kung wala kayong questions about market research, ako meron. Sige, ganito na lang yung question ko. Paano kayo nagre-research? How do you do your market research? I'll give you guys like a minute to think about it before proceeding. Kasi may mga I guess I'll chime in na lang. May mga tropa tayong artists na nandito rin. Ayun, si Brian. Coach Brian, ikaw ba to? Yung mentor ko sa crypto trading. Okay. Sorry. Akala ko yung mentor ko sa crypto trading si Coach Brian. Okay, so yung concern ni Brian when doing market research is pain points, aspirations, and wants. Okay. Problems, past solutions. Simon. Nagre-research research ng market. Research ng ano kaya? Market research ng ideal audience. Yeah. Yan lagi ko research. Okay. So yun nga, I guess meron kasi tayong yung audience natin ngayon is composed of madami artists, business people, entrepreneurs. Simon kagrupo ko to sa trading, so I know he's a entrepreneur. And meron din mga marketers ngayon. Being relevant, ang daming. So yung kay Brian, yung concern niya is, una is pain points, aspiration, and wants, tapos problems, past, solutions. Yan lagi daw niya nire-research. And then kay Mond naman, he's a business owner, by the way. His concern is being relevant. Ang dami gusto maging unique and nagiging pain point na siya. I guess this is coming from a business owner's perspective na nagiging pain point na siya, no? Sige, address natin yan muna. So, yung kay Mond, being relevant to his target audience, ang daming gusto maging unique and nagiging pain point na siya. Ang daming gusto maging unique ng mga business owner, I guess. Tama ba, Mond? Ang daming gusto maging unique, pero to the point na nagiging pain point na para sa kanila dahil hindi nila alam paano maging relevant sa kanilang target audience. Tama ba? I guess if that's the case, eto, let me just answer that really quick and then proceed tayo sa slides. If you are in business, it doesn't matter kung service-based business or product-based business kayo. And kung hindi naman kayo kalakihan pa, especially if you're independent or kung maliit na business lang kayo, what I would advise, ayoko naman sanang sabihin advice kasi hindi naman ako professional, wala akong license sa coaching and whatever, but I'm in this business for 8 years and I've seen clients bombed yung mga businesses nila, and I've seen also clients na lumago yung businesses nila, and it's all because of niching down sa target market nila. So I suggest kung maliit kayong business, kung hindi naman kayo sing laki ng SM, ng Coke, ng isang franchise brand na malaki, basta kung solo business owner kayo, doesn't matter product based or service based, if you guys are in small business category, I suggest mag-niche down kayo. What that means is find a specific audience that you want to help, find out what their pain points are, talk to them, no? And find out what their pain points are, what they want, ano ba yung aspirations nila, ano bang goals nila, ano bang objectives nila. Go ahead and do that, no? Talk to them either, one-on-one or in a survey format, and then dun yung sila makikilala. And at the same time, dun kayo gumawa ng offer ninyo or ng solution ninyo na i-offer sa kanila. Because, let's face it, wala tayong ganong karaming pera pang ads para ma-target yung lahat ng tao. And funny thing is that this is the same advice or the same suggestion that I suggested to someone last night sa OKX party, Web3 party sa Silo. There was this, I forgot yung nature ng business, but it's in the security Web3, no? Tinanong ko siya kung sinong target market nila kasi bago pa lang sila eh. So they needed help. We were talking about marketing and stuff kasi yun yung specialty ko. And I was trying to help them narrow down their concern dahil since bago pa lang sila and magla-launch pa lang sila, I don't want them to spend ridiculous amounts of money sa advertising and or KOL or influencer marketing. Sabi ko, wag kayo makipag-compete sa mga well-known businesses na in your industry. Kasi una mag-start pa lang kayo and wala kayong limited yung resources niyo pang ads and sa marketing. So I exactly told them to find out who their ideal target market is and serve them first. Isang target market lang muna, isang ideal audience, isang target market classification lang muna ng audience yung i-serve niyo until makakakuha kayo ng traction doon. And then maybe, you know, if you have enough money in the near future to spend on marketing or ads, dun na kayo to-market ng multiple audience. Kasi wala tayo, mga small business owners, small businesses, wala tayong panlaban sa corporation, sa big businesses kasi may budget in sila, may hundreds of thousands of budgets pang ads or even millions sa pang budgets ang ads. So, leave all the... Kasi sila kaya nilang to-market ng multiple audience kasi may pera nga sila, diba? So, leave that to them. Kasi hindi naman nila kayang kunin lahat ng audience eh. So, yung percentage na hindi nila kayang kunin, yun yung kunin mo or yung kukunin natin as our ideal audience. And this has proved really effective for me. Kasi when I launched my coaching program 5 years ago, this is my dilemma. Ito rin yung same problem ko. Sino ba yung... Bakit ang daming freelancers pero wala akong traction or maliit yung traction na nakukuha ko. So what I did is since hindi ko kaya makipag-compete sa mga big name coaches dito sa Philippines, I narrowed down who my target audience is. I solved a specific problem for specific types of people. And when I did that, sila na yung lumalapit sa akin ngayon. Nung time na yun, nung wala pang may naninira sa akin. So, sila yung lumalapit sa akin. And the good thing is, if you have also to consider the law of supply and demand, pag konti yung supply, mali. Pag konti yung supply, maraming demand. Something like that. I don't know, I'm not an economics, but parang ganon, no? Pag konti yung supply, marami yung demand, you can charge premium. In my case, mag-isa lang ako noon, and then I only get a limited number of students, kasi yun lang yung kaya ko eh. So, I can raise my price because the demand is there, and the supply is limited. So, ganon yung positioning natin, no? Kay Mond, kay Brian, and kay Banana, and whoever is listening right now. So, ganon yung positioning natin when it comes to marketing as a small brand, as a small business. Okay, napahaba. Sorry about that. So, balik tayo sa slides ngayon. Let me check the Facebook group really quick. Baka may mga nag-comment doon bago tayo mag-proceed. Wala naman. Okay, good. So, proceed tayo sa slides. You guys can just watch the replay later. So, balik tayo sa slides. So, yung topic natin ngayon is understanding your audience through audience segmentation. So, this is how I do my market research as a small business owner or someone who is, not that famous or not that big of a business. Hindi gumagana yung mouse ko. Wait lang. Yun. So, understanding your target audience. To effectively reach and engage customers, it is essential to first understand kung sino sila. And understanding them means going beyond surface level assumptions and gathering detailed information about the people who will use our product or service. So dito pumapasok, ang daming, do not make this mistake kasi ang dami kong naging kakilalang business owners and clients na nag-a-assume na eto daw yung kailangan ng target audience nila. Ito yung pain points nila. But, and when they launch their offer or their solution, it tanks, no? It bombs. Kasi, they were assuming yung pain points, aspirations, and wants or goals ng target audience nila. And then they blame you as a marketer bakit nag-flop. No? So, eto, para maiwasan natin to, do not assume yung mga details ng target audience natin na porque sabi ni ganito, eto yung magiging pain points nila na ilalagay mo sa market research mo. Again, the best way to know about it is to ask directly who your audience is, kung ano yung problems nila, goals nila, and everything. We will discuss that more further. No, but just to give you a quick recap, na wag tayo mag-assume kung ano yung gusto nila or ano yung pain points nila, because that is a recipe for disaster. Proven na yan sa mga clients ko. And there was one time na nasisi pa ako. But anyway, going back to the main point is, do not assume, ask. No. So why do we ask? Because the knowledge that we will be getting from our target audience, makakatulong yan sa marketing efforts and product development natin and communication strategies para ma-meet natin yung specific needs and preferences ng target audience natin. When you truly know who your audience is, you can relate more to them, you can create more relevant messages, you can improve customer satisfaction kasi yung offer mo mas aligned sa wants and needs nila. And also, this is gonna increase your chances of a success in the marketplace. So that's why we don't assume. We always ask. Okay, let's proceed. So yung first segmentation natin sa audience. Wait lang, may nag-message sa Facebook. Si Ernesto, good evening bro, hindi ako makapasok sa Discord, dito na lang ako sa FB Live. Yeah, sige, okay lang bro, Ernesto. Siguro mamaya sa replay mo na lang panoorin yung iba. So going back to the presentation, so yung first audience segmentation natin ay demographic. So we have to know the demographic segmentation of our target audience. So what does demographic segmentation means? So demographics provide a foundational layer of understanding our ideal audience by categorizing people based on measurable characteristics such as edad nila, gender, income, education, and occupation. Excuse me. So ayun, no, that is the perfect way of the demographics. One good example ng demographic is a company who is selling luxury items such as watches might focus on higher income individuals aged maybe 30, 35 to 50 or 60, while a toy manufacturer tina-target nila ay hindi naman bata, no? You would assume that bata yung target audience, but wala namang buying power yung bata eh. So what the toy manufacturer does is they target parents ng mga bata. So that's an example of demographic segmentation. You might think na selling luxury watches or even renting luxury watches is a far-off idea. Hindi. Nangyayari yan kasi yun yung isa sa mga first clients ko before. He is renting his luxury watches to people na gusto maging yung perceived value nila sa target market audience nila is maging luxurious din. Yeah. Nung time na yon, 2018, yung client kong yon, influencer marketing is not that, common. So yung target audience na nun ay wealthy individuals but not super wealthy, of course. Yung mga business owners na gustong magpakita sa audience nila na may flashy bling-bling sila or whatever. Alam mo yun, siguro that's the equivalent of it now, yung influencers na nagre-rent ng Lambo and shit like that. Ganon. But he was targeting business owners. Chinese influencers do that. Yeah, correct. Okay, moving back. So demographic data is often the first step in identifying kung sino yung customers natin, and it also helps in creating targeted marketing campaigns that speaks directly to these groups. So ito yung concern ni Mon kanina about relevance no, sa audience. So if we are able to identify yung demographic segmentation ng target market natin, mas magiging accurate yung messaging and positioning natin, ng campaigns natin for them. Wait lang, inom lang ako tubig. Okay. Next is geographic segmentation. Wait, let me check message. Some luxury brands hindi magbebenta sa'yo. You have to be... Yeah, exactly. So the perceived value of luxury, yung client kong yun na nagpaparenta ng luxury watches, they're more of like status and perceived value na dapat high income individual sila. Maybe for meeting VCs or whatever. I don't know. Basta yun yung gist niya. Yung nagpaparenta siya ng luxury watch, and I was there to create the ads for him for his business. Geographic segmentation. So geographic segmentation divides the market based on location-related factors. So this can include countries, regions, cities, neighborhood, climate zones, and whether the area is urban or rural. Location influences customer needs and behaviors significantly. Correct. Kasi, for instance, a clothing retailer might stock heavier coats, yung mga coats in colder climates, and lighter apparel in warmer regions. So understanding where your audience lives allows you to customize your offer or kung ano yung man yung binibenta mo, and marketing messaging to fit local preferences and conditions. So one good example of this is kung nagbebenta ka ng ice cream sa Antarctica, di ba? Why would you do that? But anyway, one good example is nagbebenta ka ng ice cream sa Antarctica. So there might be people who will still buy from you, but the chances of you scaling that business in that particular place is probably slim. Kasi malamig lang yung binibenta mo, malamig pa yung lugar. So, ayun, so may disconnect sa offer mo sa audience, no? The same goes with nagbebenta ka ng mainit na kape to someone or to a place or to a city or to a region na temperature ay umaabot sa 70 degrees Celsius or 80 degrees Celsius. So why would you sell a coffee to people who are already suffering from heat stroke, from the heat wave? Now there might be still people that will buy from you, but the chances of you scaling that business is slim. Yung unless dito sa Pilipinas mahilig tayo sa kape, so kahit summer nagkakape tayo, but thankfully hindi pa naman umaabot yung temperature natin dito sa 60, 70, 80, so that's tolerable. But again, yung idea dun is if you are marketing to a specific location na yung problem nila ay yun nga, for example, sobrang lamig, tas bebentahan mo ng ice cream, Slurpee, whatever, so tailor your offer to the problems of an ideal audience sa specific place na yon. Alright, so yun yung example. Naunahan na pala. So psychographic segmentation. Psychographics refers to or digs deeper into the mindset of your audience by exploring their lifestyles, values, interests, attitudes, and personality traits. So this type of segmentation helps explain why people make certain choices and what motivates their behavior. So dito pumapasok yung mga impulsive buyers, impulsive decision making. And ayun, so psychographic segmentation refers to the who, no? Pasimplehin natin. Psychographic segmentation refers to the who. Geographic segmentation refers to the where aspect, or refers to the where question. And then demographic segmentation refers to the who. What pala, sorry. Demographic segmentation refers to the what. So going back, psychographics, example. So for example, two customers might be the same age and pareho din yung income level nila, but they have very different interests. One of the two might prioritize sustainability and ethical products, while the other values convenience and speed. So doon pumapasok yung, again, yung who part ng psychographic segmentation. Kasi if you are selling something, kahit sabihin natin pareho yung, like let's say those two individuals, pareho silang male, parehong may pera, may purchasing power, pero magkaiba naman yung needs and wants nila. So that's where psychographic segmentation comes into play. Psychographic insights enable brands to connect emotionally with their audience and create messaging that resonates on a personal level. So, yun yung first three topics natin in terms of audience segmentation. So before we proceed sa next few slides, do you guys have any questions or clarifications?
Wala po. Go lang po.
Nakakamiss ka talaga, Master Ken. Nag-inom lang ako tubig. Okay. So, real-world examples of each segmentation, audience segmentation type. Dito. So, eto, demographic example is targeting, if you're a business owner, you know, who wants to target men and women aged 25 to 40 who have a moderate to high income. Medyo generic siya, but this is just to give you guys an idea about kung paano ginagamit yung demographic audience segmentation. Then sa geographic audience segmentation is focusing on urban areas where gyms and fitness centers are more common. So kung ano ka, nag-iisip ako ng business para dito eh. Gyms and fitness. Yeah. Kung supplier ka ng gym equipments, this is how I would describe your target audience. Focus ka sa urban areas na may mga gyms and fitness centers, and then pwede mong ibenta yung equipments mo sa fitness centers and gyms or whatever product man yung meron ka, basta relevant sa segmentation na to. Psychographic, it appealing to individuals who value health, wellness, and an active lifestyle. So overall, yung tatlong to, yung best example nila is relevant to fitness and, you know, having an active lifestyle. So this is how, if I have a business in that niche, this is how I would create my ideal customer profile, or ICP, or buyer's persona. So why are these necessary? So it's to know and understand who you're selling to, and to understand the spending power ng target audience natin. Hindi kasi magme-make sense kung yung binebenta natin is worth 50,000 pesos or more, tas yung binebentahan natin ay high school kids aged 15 to 16 kasi wala naman silang purchasing power, or limited yung purchasing power nila. So ayun, audience segmentation is also necessary kasi yun nga kanina, tulad sa nabanggit ko, kung nagbebenta ka ng malamig na product sa isang geographic location ng target market mo, I mean kung yung target market, yung geographic location ng target market mo ay nasa Antarctica or sa mga malalamig na lugar, the chances of you scaling that business is slim. Same goes with pag nagbebenta ka ng mainit, like sabaw or whatever, coffee sa geographic location na 60, 70, 80, 90 degrees Celsius, chances of you scaling your business is slim. So sinasang-ayon, these exist, demographic, geographic, and psychographic. These exists because sinasang-ayon natin yung offer natin sa binebenta natin sa tatlong segmentations na to. Alright, so the next discussion, or the next topic is buyer's persona. Sa corporate, they would call this ICP, or ideal customer profile, but they're the same, no? So what is a buyer's persona? Ito pala, may nag-message, nag-comment sa Facebook natin. Medyo mahina internet ko na manood sa replay. Okay, sige bro, Ernesto, kita-kit sa replay. Anyway, buyer's persona, may idea ba kayo what this is? Banana? Or kung sino man yung nasa live natin ngayon, live training. Okay. Let's proceed. Actually, kailangan ko lang ng breather. So, buyer's persona. What is a buyer's persona? A buyer's persona, or ICP, or ano ba yun? Ideal customer profile, is a detailed, semi-fictional, or pwede ring document that contains representation of our ideal audience and our ideal customers based on real data and insights. It combines demographic information, behaviors, motivations, goals, challenges, pain points, and preferences to create a clear picture kung sino yung typical customer natin. Unlike pag broad market yung segmentation, yung buyer's persona, it humanizes our audience by describing them as individuals with specific needs and decision-making patterns. Eto, hindi alam ng lahat ng nasa corporate or even startup kung ano yung buyer's persona or ano yung customer profile, ideal customer profile. So, plus points yon kung ngayon pa lang, before you target them, you would know and understand what a buyer's persona or ideal customer profile is. Kasi pag nakagawa ka na nito, let's say sa sariling business mo lang, pag nagawan mo na ng buyer's persona mo, yung sariling business mo, it's a big win. And in my experience as well, in both B2B and B2C sa coaching ko, when I created my coaching brand's buyer's persona, ginamit ko yung tatlong yon, yung demographic, geographic, and especially yung psychographic, kasi nandun yung psychological details ng ideal audience natin. So make sure you have that, and kung hindi nyo naman alam paano gawin pa, you can Google it, and or I can also give you an actual document of a buyer's persona na pwede nyong i-download. Yeah, I'll just post the link on my group. So, ayun. So, again, buyer's persona helps businesses understand not just who their customers are, but why they behave the way they do. The data, again, contains, tulad ng nabanggit ko, the document, or the data in the document should contain demographic, geographic, and psychographic segmentation. So, ngayon, bakit nagmamatter ba yung buyer's persona? Why does it matter? Why is it important? So, importante siya because creating a buyer's persona is essential because it guides every aspect of your marketing and product strategies. When, kung kilala mo na yung customer profile natin, or kung sino yung tatargetin natin, kung alam na natin yung priorities, yung pain points nila, and preferences, we can design our solution or our offer that truly solves the problem and create messaging or marketing messages that speaks directly to them. So this target approach increases the effectiveness ng magiging campaigns natin and improves customer engagement and reduces wasted resources such as marketing budgets on unnecessary marketing channels. Like, for example, not to diss on Web3, kasi may mga Web3 companies naman or projects din naman na alam nila mga ginagawa nila. But observation ko lang kasi sa Web3, they are obsessed with influencer marketing na hindi naman gumagana sa lahat ng aspect ng objectives ng projects nila, no? So that's one example ng ibig kong sabihin na it reduces wasted resources. Lalo na kung startup ka pa lang na limited yung marketing budget mo. Hindi porke uso yung influencer marketing or kung ano man yung marketing channel susundin mo na kasi yun yung uso eh. Yun yung case studies ng ibang ng ibang companies eh. The difference is kung yung Lazada and Shopee gumagamit ng mga influencer marketing kasi may budget sila para doon. Eh kung startup ka lang, wag kang maging obsessed sa uso. You have to strategically approach your tactics na sumasang-ayon sa budget mo, especially, no? Ayun. True, banana. Yeah, ang daming obsessed na sa influencer marketing. And one ridiculous thing about it, going back to Web3, is that one ridiculous thing that I've heard a few months ago, no, sa isang cold email campaign ko, may nag-reply sa akin. Funded sila, malaking project. Funded sila ng investor, like they got 24 million investment from a couple of VCs, no? But when I talked to them sa BD nila, kasi kailangan daw nila ng content eh. Pero sabi ko, sige, kaya ko naman gumawa ng content eh. Kaya ko gumawa ng sales copy. Pero anong campaigns na ba yung mga na-set up nyo na number 1, nag-work, and number 2, na hindi nag-work? Para alam ko yung messaging and positioning ng mga isusulat ko para sa inyo. So, tinanong ng BD ngayon yung head of marketing ng project na yun. Sabi, hindi nila alam. Wala pa daw silang may na-set up na ganun. So, it's ridiculous to think that a big company, a big project funded like that, $24 million, walang direksyon yung marketing nila. So, that's one of the examples kung bakit mahalaga yung audience segmentation. Yeah, Brian. Sabi ni Brian, what? That is true. I don't want to divulge the project's name, but ang laki nila, dude. They're funded, but they don't know what they're doing. Saan nga ba tayo? So, eto. Saan ba mahanap mga ganyan? Sabi ni Brian. Secret! Sige, bigyan kita ng idea. Number 1, LinkedIn. Number 2, Twitter. Again, dito rin kasi papasok yung audience segmentation. O, eto. Ano ko na, yung market ko na sa'yo. Dito pumapasok yung audience segmentation natin. Know where they hang out. So, yun yung isa sa geographic location ng audience. Isa sa audience segmentation. Crunchbase, hindi ko pa na-try, but you can. What I did is LinkedIn, Twitter, and Chainplay. Chainplay.gg ata yan, or search mo na lang Chainplay. Nandun yung mga funded Web3 projects eh. Also, maybe Crunchbase at iba pang scrapers. That might help as well. So going back, how to create a buyer's persona. So of course, we need to collect data. So for us to create a compelling buyer's persona, we should gather quantitative and qualitative information from sources such as customer surveys, customer interviews, like one-on-one, tulad ng nabanggit ko kanina, one-on-one, sales data, which is, I think, probably available naman online yan. Website analytics, Google Analytics, mga ganon, or iba pang, or databox.io, or I think .com.io. Nag-offer sila ng analytics. And then, social media insights. So, kung ano man yung mga nag-gather nyo, like dito muna tayo, sa collect data, no? Like, sa social media insights. For example, makikita natin yan pag may Facebook page tayo eh. Makikita natin yan sa dashboard. Like, who are those people that follows us or that engages with us? Babae ba yon? Lalaki? Anong edad? Taga saan? Ganon. But I think generic information. But still, it's a good start to get your data for free. And yun kagandahan, free. So, number 2 is identify patterns. So look for common characteristics and behaviors among your best customers, including demographics nila, demographic details, buying habits, challenges, and goals. So dito halo yung demographics and psychographics. Saan yung makahanap to? Ito demographics, pwede ito sa social media through the dashboard, sa insights. Goals, buying habits. I'm not sure. Definitely may mga alam ko na. I think Meltwater, data analytics company. I think they offer insights like psychographic insights like that. Pero mahal yun eh. Oops. What ganon? What the hell? So yun nga. One of the efficient way para makakuha ng libreng data from our target audience, kasi ito, gastos ka ng tools, no? Ito, customer surveys, free yan. Interviews, free yan. Sales data, free yan. Online din, search mo lang kung paano. Google, or kung may ChatGPT kayo, search nyo lang. Pwede nyo search sales data of XYZ company. Ganun. Yun. But for me, the best methods that work for me ay surveys and interviews. I talk to my ideal customers one-on-one. Develop persona profiles. So create detailed profiles that include age, job, title, background, their interests, motivations, and pain points. Yung iba, pag corporate, no, they would usually name their ideal customer profile document. Let's say, this is Joe. He's from Manhattan, New York. He loves to eat pizza, but he wants to lose weight but don't know how. He's too lazy to go to the gym. Blah blah blah. Ganon, may pangalan. Ako, pag gumagawa ako, walang pangalan, walang Joe, walang Mary, mga ganon. Mostly ano lang talaga, demographics, geographic, and psychographic. Yun lang. And then I fill it out with details such as age, name, occupation, what their pain points are, what their problems are, what their aspirations are, what their objectives are, what their goals are. Ganon. Or why are they not satisfied with their previous purchase? What's the reason behind not addressing their problems? Yung ganon, mga ganon. So, mostly questions lang talaga yung laman ng buyer's persona natin. Validate and refine. So, test your personas by comparing them against real customer feedback and adjust as necessary to ensure accuracy. Ito rin yung ginawa ko. Sharing my personal experience sa coaching program is that, yun nga, kinausap ko yung mga ideal customers ko. I asked them what their pain points are, and hindi ko na sila tanong about geographic location kasi Pilipinas lang naman eh. So, safe tayo doon. Nag-focus ako sa psychographic and demographic, like what do they do? Do they have purchasing power? Bakit nila gusto matutunan yung copywriting? Why are they not satisfied with the current program? Why do they want to learn from me? Mga ganong questions yung ginawa ko. And then, vinalidate ko yun by competitor research. So there are other coaches that offer the same solution as me. Pero ako, mas nirefine ko siya kasi yung offer ng competitors ko, offer ng other coaches, nirefine ko siya para mag-fit doon sa kaya kong ibigay or i-offer na solution sa target audience ko. Which is, yun nga, kinuha ko yung feedback nila. And that's how I ensured that my offer was selling like pancakes. Using personas strategically. So, apply these profiles to tailor your marketing strategies or marketing messages, product features, customer service approaches, and sales tactics to better meet the needs of your target audience. So, kunwari, what this means is, kunwari, nagawan mo na ng demographic, geographic, and psychographic details yung buyer's persona mo, na fill out mo na using their data. So what you need to do is to come up with messaging and positioning kung paano mo gagamitin yun ngayon sa marketing messages mo. Diba? Kung paano mo sasabihin, kung paano mo ipoposition yung binebenta mo na iba sa competitors mo. Yun yung ibig sabihin nito. Use personas strategically. How to create geographic and demographic data. Eto, mas i-dumb down pa natin. So, geographic data contains places, particular places, such as country, city, or ano yung weather or climate ng ideal audience mo, kung nasa urban ba sila or nasa rural settings, kasi not only will it help you determine who they are, but also it will help you determine if what you're selling is they have like the financial capacity to spend on what you're selling. And then the demographic data, age, gender, income, education, occupation, further narrows down who your customers are within these locations. So, kung wala na narrow down mo na yung location, yung place kung saan ka magma-market, saan ka mag-advertise, inarrow down mo rin yung demographic data ng ICP mo or buyer's persona. And then, how to create psychographic data. Usually, one of the best ways to go about creating the psychographic information, psychographic detail of your customer profile is open-ended and follow-up questions. So, tulad ng sinabi dito, open-ended and follow-up questions are effective in revealing why customers make certain decisions and what matters most to them. Examples include asking about the reasons behind the purchase, ba't nila binili yun, ano yung, or what alternatives were there considered, anong ibang products ba, anong ibang similar products ng competitors mo nakapareho din sa'yo na kailangan nilang i-consider, and why would they consider yours versus your competitors. And dito, what triggers a buying decision? So dito ngayon magkakatalo kasi kung you have the same offer as your competitors, no, mahihirapan silang mamili, no, mahihirapan silang especially if you're aiming for them to buy yours, mahihirapan sila kasi para-pareho kayo. Kung commodity yung binebenta nyo lahat, mahihirapan ka talaga as a business owner. So dito, what triggers a buying decision? Dito kailangan yung mag-focus din dito. What I mean by that is positioning and messaging. Meaning, paano nyo pinoposisyon na you're selling something, something similar but different. Kasi similar product, pero bakit iba yung binebenta mo sa competitors mo? What's so special about what you're selling? Ayun. So, sa positioning, we were just talking about this. So, how to use buyer's persona to define your positioning? Bago tayo magsimula, sino sa inyo may idea kung paano kung ano ang positioning at paano ito ina-apply sa real marketing, sa real world ng marketing? Do you guys have any idea, or have you guys tried this? Yun, sabi ni Larel. Larel is a good buddy of mine. This is what you call A/B testing, right? For validate and refine. That is true. Pero kung mag-A/B test ka na I mean, what I suggest kung mag-A/B test ka, dapat yung i-A/B test mo rin, kung yung i-split test mo rin na methods ay gumagana na siya sa ibang niche or ibang campaigns, or previously used na siya. Let's say, for example, kung what I mean by this is kung mag-split test ka ng methods na hindi pa naman gamit, or hindi pa siya ganun wala pa siyang masyadong traction, maliit yung success rate niya, I wouldn't bet on that. Kasi medyo sayang yung budget and resources. What I would do is I would use a methodology that already have worked at yun yung split test ko. Let's say yung method A gumana na siya sa campaigns na to. And then yung gusto mong i-apply, which is method B, let's call it method B. Yung gusto mong i-apply na strategy, which is method B, gumagana naman siya sa niche mo. But gusto mong i-try yung method A because it also worked for that, campaign or for that segment. So I would go with that. Pero kung mag-split test ka or mag-A/B test ka na, let's say yung method A, maliit yung success rate niya compared to the current method that you want to try, I wouldn't want to go that route. Kasi, yun nga, maliit yung success rate niya, slim yung chance na mag-succeed siya kasi nagamit na siya sa ibang campaign or niche na hindi masyado gumana. So, I wouldn't put my effort and money into that. So, for split testing, I would use 2 proven methods na nagamit na siya na mataas yung success rate. And then, saka natin i-split test. Okay, going back. I just needed a break. Positioning or brand positioning is the process of defining how our offer or how our brand is perceived in the minds of our target audience compared to competitors. So using buyer's persona helps us shape yung positioning natin by focusing on their specific needs, on their preferences, on their goals, their problems or challenges ng ideal customers natin. So by understanding our personas deeply, we can identify we can identify what unique value or kung ano yung unique selling proposition or unique selling point ng brand natin that will matter to them. So in short, positioning is creating a distinct and favorable place for our brand or our project in the customer's mind, making it stand out in a crowded market. So, example, si Tesla. Eto, positioning, buyer's persona, positioning, why it works. Tesla is a tech-savvy, environmentally aware professional. I mean, yung buyer's persona ng Tesla ay tech-savvy, environmentally aware professionals who want high-performance luxury, semi-luxury, I would say, semi-luxury electric vehicles that reduces their carbon footprint without compromising their style or power ng vehicle. So yung positioning ng Tesla positions itself as the leader in cutting-edge electric vehicles that combine sustainability with innovation and luxury. Why it works? Yung messaging ng Tesla, they addresses the persona's desire for eco-friendly transportation without compromising on advanced technology, setting it apart from traditional car manufacturers like Toyota, Honda, Kia, whatever. But balik lang tayo dito ha, sa positioning ha. Again, Tesla positions itself as the leader daw in cutting-edge electronic vehicles. Not until competitors stepped in like BYD. So, since pareho sila ng buyer's persona, pareho sila ng target market, yung positioning naman ng BYD ngayon is a lot more appealing to the masses because they are selling their cars at a much more reasonably priced compared to Tesla. So, yun yung positioning ng BYD. Kasi maganda rin naman yung yung BYD in terms of performance and features ng electrical features, luxury features nila. So, positioning ng BYD is they're a lot more reasonably priced than Tesla. One more example ng positioning. If you are a 90s kid like me, naabutan mo to. Yung slogan nila na Pepsi, the choice of the new generation campaign. So buyer's persona ng Pepsi. Young, trend-conscious consumers who seek excitement, energy, and modernity in their beverage choices. Compared to Coke ha. Kasi mas established na yung Coke and Pepsi was having a hard time positioning their product kahit pareho naman silang soda, 'di ba? Pareho naman yung I'm not quite sure kung pareho yung ingredients, but the thing is pareho silang soda, so nahihirapan silang mag-stand out sa Coke kasi mas maganda yung positioning ng Coke that time. And mas nauna sila. So messaging approach ng Pepsi. Pepsi positions itself as a youthful, dynamic alternative to traditional cola brands. So dito sila, they banked into this. They were banking into this positioning that they are youthful, dynamic alternative to traditional cola brands, such as sino pa ba? Coke. No. So going back, by emphasizing innovation, pop culture, and celebrity endorsements. So campaigns like the choice of the new generation. Eto, kung naabutan niyo to noong 90s and then early 2000s. Appear. Magkaedad tayo. So campaigns like the choice of a new generation and partnerships with stars like Michael Jackson portraying the brand as fresh, vibrant, and relevant. Aside kay Michael Jackson, kung naalala niyo Spice Girls, 'di ba? In-endorse din nila yung Pepsi. Tapos yun yung slogan nila. ng commercial nila, the choice of the new generation. So that's how they were able to position themselves differently from Coke. So the impact is this positioning helped Pepsi capture the loyalty of millennials and Gen Z consumers, closing the market share gap with Coca-Cola during the 1970s and 80s, while maintaining strong engagement through ongoing celebrity-driven campaigns. So that's how they were able to leverage positioning, because Pepsi leveraged positioning by targeting millennials and Gen Z customers and called it the choice of the new generation. So pumatok naman siya eventually, So messaging. How to create messaging that resonates with your audience's need. So once your brand's positioning is clear, messaging is how you express that positioning in your communications or when you're marketing or advertising. So messaging should be tailored to address the buyer's persona's specific goals, yung mga pain points nila, problems, what their values or their beliefs. So it involves choosing the right language, the right tone, and content that connects emotionally and logically with your audience. Medyo, well, hindi siya medyo, manipulative siya. So marketing and advertising is manipulating your audience. But the thing is, every businesses or everyone actually, kahit hindi ka na sa business, they is capable of manipulation. It's the intent that matters most. Kasi pwede mo namang i-manipulate yung isang audience or isang tao to do something that you want para gawin nila. But the thing is, okay ba yun? Masama ba yun? O, diba? Tawag dito? Is it good or is it bad? Is it immoral or is it moral? It all boils down to the intent. So going back, effective messaging explains the benefits ng solution or product natin or service in a way that aligns with our buyer's personas or what our buyer's persona cares about, reinforcing our brand or projects or our business's unique value and encouraging engagement or purchase. So in short, positioning is how we position our businesses or how our offer is going to be different than our competitors in the marketplace. And messaging is how we express bakit importante yung positioning na yun and what we say to our target audience. Example is yung sa Coke. Eto, kasi kanina may Pepsi na tayo eh. So sa Coke naman, open happiness and share a Coke campaigns. So yung buyer's persona nun is general consumers seeking moments of happiness, connection, and personalization in everyday life. Kung napansin nyo, yung buyer's persona ng Coke, mas focused sila sa generic audience kumpara sa Pepsi, na they were focused more on the youthful side of their demographic audience. Messaging approach ng Coke is Coca-Cola's messaging centers on universal emotions like joy and togetherness using warm and uplifting language, and campaigns like Open Happiness and Share a Coke personalize the experience by encouraging sharing and connecting or connection, making the brand feel intimate and relevant. So yung impact nun, the Share a Coke campaign led to a 33% global sales increase and viral social media engagement, deepening brand loyalty and driving purchases by connecting emotionally with customers. Again, manipulative. In general, manipulative yung marketing. It's the intent that matters most. So I think it's, Open Happiness, yun yung dun bumangking yung Coke naman sa experience, sa happiness, sa sharing, sa intimacy, no? That's how they were able to manipulate their audience to buy from them, because they were banking on those on campaigns like that para ma-leverage yung intimacy, yung connection, emotion. So I guess that's it, no? Thank you for attending. And then yung promise kong buyer's persona document, hindi ko pa kasi naayos yung email sequence doon. So I'll just upload it manually where you guys can download it. Do you have any questions? Si Banana. You're welcome, Banana. Yun. Any questions bago tayo mag-proceed sa paraffle natin? Teka, nagbabasa rin ako sa sa group. Okay. Alright. Proceed tayo sa raffle. Ay, sorry. May ano pa wala. Si Brian. And Mond. Typing. Si Mond. Ayos. Application na lang kalaban. Yeah. So, sige. Discuss natin really quick. No? Si Mond kasi may barbershop siya. So, here's what I would do, bro. Mond. Sa barbershop mo. Mag-niche down ka. Kasi I think yung offer mo kasi, I mean yung audience mo kasi is aside from men, from boys, nagki-cater ka rin sa salon mo. So, you know, ideally kung ako isa lang yung pipiliin ko, I would focus on the guy audience. But the thing is, ang dami na rin kasing specialized modern barbershops ngayon na ganun nga yung tina-target. So, I guess this is an exception, no? What I would do is, aside from narrowing down yung audience mo sa guys side, i-consider mo rin yung salon. So, for you to be able to create specific offers or solutions para sa salon ng part ng shop mo, yung mga naging yung mga naging customers mo, ask them kung ano yung specific na service yung hinahanap nila, or what specific pain points are they suffering from, para at least yun real-time insights, real-time data na makukuha mo, number 1. Number 2, para mag-stand out ka rin sa dinami-dami ng salons na nag-o-offer ng relax, ng ano ba tawag? Sorry, hindi ako masyadong well-versed din. Nag-o-offer ng nagpapa-straight lang buhok, nagpapakulay, ganon. So, get their insights, talk to them, mga existing customers mo. Or maybe, pag hindi pa sila bumabalik, gawa ka ng questionnaire. Tapos, i-text mo or i-text or i-message mo sa kanila yon sa Facebook or SMS. And then create an offer that's specifically tailored para doon sa data na nag-gather mo. Additional insights, Kasi sa modern, sa guys naman, as long as modern yung marunong at maganda yung modern cuts mo, is okay na yun eh. Kaso sa dinami-dami na nga ng modern barbershops ngayon, 'di ba? How would you separate yourself aside sa pagalingan? One thing I could think of is customer service. Kasi hindi naman lahat ng marunong na modern cuts marunong din sa customer service. So yun yung intangible offer, but also ask your existing list or database ng customer mo kung ano pa ba yung hinahanap nila aside sa gupit, or observe
babaeng magugupit.
Ay gago, meron dun sa ano yun pare, sa
it just makes sense, di ba?
Babaeng nagugupit,
Hindi kasi di ba pag barbero nadidikatan ka ng edits minsan sa siko. So at least
gagi, naman yung ilang kaya yun
didikit sa'yo. That just makes sense, di ba? So in terms of marketing wise, I mean, sabi mo, something unique. Diba? Something that would stand out, the purple cow. So, yeah, that would stand out. Or, I mean, what makes other barbershops like click? Minsan, babalik-balikan mo, hindi naman yung gupit eh. Minsan yung masahe. Minsan how just the barber treats you.
Yeah.
Or yung experience mismo.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Tama, Master Ken has spoken. So, yun, focus ka sa experience. Yung Bruno nag-offer ng masahe but hindi ganun ka-okay. So, if you can find a way to improve that experience, the better. O eto rin, based sa sabi ni Master Ken, babae, di ba? Babae nagugupit na marunong sa modern cuts. Paano kaya kung magandang babae na marunong sa modern cuts tapos nagko-cosplay? Opo siya, dadagsain yung barbershop mo yan ngayon, bro. Si Brian. For copywriting projects, where do you search for info usually to get bala for copywriting? Anong bala, bro? Like bullet for what? Like, can you explain it further?
Arsenal, bro. Siguro I think what he meant was specific words, specific phrases, hooks. Yeah. Depende yan dun sa copyright eh. Yeah.
I see. Barbershops usually, they lack yung anong bagay na gupit based sa client. Dapat kaya mag-isip anong gupit bagay. Okay, Arsenal. Kung anong hooks, ang ganun. Sige, sa copywriting, marami na kasi ngayong bro eh. Ever since the pandemic started, dumami lalo yung copywriters. Hindi lang sa Philippines, pati sa ibang bansa rin yung napansin ko. And unfortunately, ang dami rin nilang naiisip na angle na magaganda na pag hindi mo alam yung paano gamitin yun, pag-iwanan ka talaga. Even me, sometimes na iniisip ko rin paano mag-stand out. Ano ba yung hook na gagamitin ko? Magiging witty ba ako? Gagamitin ko ba yung hero's journey? Magpapaawa ba ako? Empathetic ba yung tone? So, napapaisip ako naman ganong angle. But I guess, bro, you know what? Recently, kasi nag-lead gen ako recently. I guess the best angle to use is leveraging your results. And if you know, ano ba yung libro ni Chris Voss? Never Split the Difference. Basahin mo yon. But you can also search it up on YouTube. Check out Chris Voss. Kasi may pagka NLP-ish yung dating ng messaging niya. So, how I usually did, and nag-stand out ako sa mga pinagpipitchan ko for the past 2 weeks is ang daming nagpipitch sa comment section na, hey, DM'd you. Hey, I have done this, ganyan. I know what to do. DM me or send me more details. Parang ganon. But the thing is, hindi yung ibang doon, hindi nire-replyan ng naghahanap ng contractor. So how I positioned my pitch was direct. Hindi na ako dati nung bago-bago ako sa copywriting, I would find a way to stand out by using, humor and witty lines na hindi baduy. But ang dami ng copywriter, siguro eventually they learned how to do that then, not just locally but also yung sa ibang bansa rin, internationally, abroad. How I would pitch, how I pitched na napansin ng mga hindi naman employers, ng potential clients, no? How I pitched is I introduced who I am. I introduced what I can do. I included the numbers ng traction ng results ko. And then yung call to action ko is I used Chris Voss's technique. So I would say Hi, I'm Luis, and hi, I'm Luis. I'm trying to remember ano yung sinabi ko. Hi, I'm Luis, and I have generated 970K in total revenue for several for projects and several niches through my launch strategies. And if this is something that you're looking for, and I'm also looking to replicate this to your business, and if this and if you think this is not a bad idea to talk more about how we can collaborate and replicate this success, send me a DM. Yun yung sinabi ko na tapos nagulat ako. A few minutes, one of the potential clients added me. We talked on Messenger. And then yung isa naman, I did the same thing. I introduced who I am. I said my results. I used Chris Voss's angle. Same formula. And bukas, wait. Shit, mamaya pala, mag-uusap na kami. Kalimutan ko. So, that booked a meeting doon. So, I guess yun yung best way, kasi, you don't have to use fancy words, flowery words. Some clients prefer the direct approach din. So, yeah, lalo na kung hindi mo naman trip or hindi ka naman talaga ganon na mahilig sa witty stuff, like I don't know, mga ganon. Just simplify it. Introduce yourself and your results and ask for a meeting. Ask them, like, would this be a bad idea to talk more about how we can replicate the results that I did for XYZ client in your company? Open-ended. May yan si Master Ken, I'm sure alam to, but kay Chris Voss, there's a scientific explanation why that works. So hanapin mo na lang sa YouTube, Brian. Chris Voss never split the difference. Yun. I forgot the exactly.
Ano bang sinasabi mo dun? Sa part na?
Yung bro? Yung technique niya na, would it be a bad idea? Do you think this is worth something to look for?
Yung mga specific niya na, ang tawag ko kasi doon, out of box thinking conversational hypnosis na kasi yan Kumbaga, you're directing thought to a different part of a belief. Pero sige, medyo mabubulol tayo dito sa lalim nung kung paano i-explain yan. Yung siguro main na sagot ko doon sa hinihingi niyang arsenal, ito yung shortcut. Check your target market, kung ano yung audience mo, check mo yung competitors mo, subscribe ka dun sa mga best in field. So meaning, kunwari ang field na pinakamagagaling na marketers, diba, or solid idol mo na copywriters, join their newsletter. And then from their newsletter, they're sending you a couple of emails per week, per month. Check how they structured it, and then get like a notebook or an Excel sheet, right there, i-copy paste mo doon yung mga nakikita mong hook that resonates with your brand voice. Kasi there are hooks, or there are like specific words that resonate with them, sila lang, personality nila. So ang statement ko dyan is, pag tinatanong ako about me teaching persuasion, kunwari, could you teach me like what Jordan Belfort is teaching? Sabi ko, tayo na, hindi na. Bakit pa? Lahat ng tinuturo nung ibang mga ganong expert level na workshops is based on their persona Kaya nga minsan, pag uma-attend ka ng mga workshops, parang ang galing ng speaker, pero ba't hindi ma-replicate ng audience? Kasi may mga God-given talent or mga inbred sila dun sa environment na mabibuild talaga nila yon. So kung gagawin yun ng isang normal na tao, medyo malayo, gets mo, na hindi exposed sa ganong environment, nahihirapan sila. So
exactly.
Find words or phrases that resonate with you, or if you see something that's working, rephrase it so that it sounds more like you rather sounding more like them. Cheers.
Palakpak.
Palakpak. Palakpak. Yes.
Palakpak. Wala akong soundboard eh.
Palakpak. Ayan na.
Yun. Master Ken. Yeah. That's how I did it nung bago-bago pa ako, actually. Thank you sa tips. Ayun. You're welcome, Ryan. Sana nakatulong kami ni Master Ken sa'yo. Kaimond, what if yung problem is bottleneck na yung audience? Last na nag-usap tayo, ganun pa din problem ko. Good retention pero onti lang new customers. Bayan, you're gonna make me wanna spill some strategy para sa business mo, no? Usap tayo, but one thing I can think of right now is gawa ka ng sa new customers yung goal mo, di ba? Gawa ka ng campaigns for cold audience, bro. Like, ano ba ang makakapagbigay ng bagong audience sa'yo? Eto, isa. For cold audience, naisip ko, lalo na kung bago, kasi gamit na kasi yung ano tawag doon, yung loyalty card, but it still works. But one example that I can think of is, pag new customers ka, you get, for example, you get free massage, you get free coffee, you get 20 pesos off, or you get half the price for being our new customer. Ang daming idea, ang daming pwedeng gawin sa cold campaigns, bro. Basta, yun yung mga naisip ko. Meron din sa retention for you to be able to get new customers while maintaining higher retention rates sa customers mo. Pwedeng yung isang customer mo suki mo na, 'di ba? So tell them, "Oy, dude, or yung loyalty card, bigyan mo sila ng loyalty card. Pag naabot nila yung 5 haircuts, they get free haircut pag may ni-refer silang bagong customer." Pwede yun. So, retention plus cold campaign din yun. Pwede ganun. So, ayun. Mga ganong examples na isip ko, bro. Reply. Usap kasi tayo sa Messenger, dude. Ayun. So, ganun yun. Naisip ko. For one customer na nagpagupit, na magbibigay ng isa pang idea, for one existing customer na magbibigay sa iyo ng 5 new customers, yung nag-refer is libre na gupit niya. Lugi ka ba? Hindi. Kasi may bago kang 5 customer na bago eh. At sa kanya, customer loyalty pa yun sa kanya. Well, kung malulugi ka man, isang tao, what is 250 pesos of worth of haircut compared to 1,250 na kapalit ng income dahil sa new customers?